This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
We were all in mourning yesterday once we heard that Bryce Cotton decided that he will no longer play for the Perth Wildcats after 9 seasons and completely dominating the league.
I'm not okay.
No, I don't think many people will be. We thought we'd check in with Channel 10 and, well, the guy that's been behind the Red Army for a long, long time, and that is the great Lachy Reid. Good morning, Lachy.
Good morning, guys.
Do you need a hug?
Emotional wreck. It's hard to get over, to be honest. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I'm not sure.
Breakups are hard at
know.
the best of times, but this really hurts.
We thought it might have been coming. You were starting to pull away from us. You know what I mean? I got that vibe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Nah, look, probably not surprising. We all knew that he was considering his future, and he put contract talks on hold. And whenever someone puts contract talks on hold, you start to think, okay, there's going to be a little bit of movement at the end of the season. And
they're seeing someone else.
Yeah, they're seeing someone else. They've moved on from you. They don't care about you anymore. And Bryce is off, and where he goes next is the big question.
So obviously, there's two things to that. We can put a line through another NBL club, right?
I don't know.
Can we?
Well,
No.
I think you can, yes, personally,
okay.
But there continues to be talk, and I don't know whether it's talk from those in the East just trying to stir the pot of the Red Army, because they like to do that a fair bit, that Melbourne United and Brisbane are two teams that are keen on him. Melbourne United, of course, got lots of money. The owner of the league also owns the team. And then Brisbane have got connections there with Mitch Norton and also Casey Prather, who Bryce has played with. So, yes, you sit there a little nervous. It would be the end of the world. It would be heartbreaking if he did play for another team in the NBL.
God,
but
yes.
I get the feeling, no. I think Bryce is moving on to bigger and better things overseas. Well, not better things, because there's no better team than the Perth Wildcats, but he thinks bigger and better things for himself and his family, a new experience, and obviously a fair bit more cash in the old bankaroony.
Like, how much do you think the mess around with his visa, his citizenship with Australia, do you think that really played a part in this, or not really?
Oh, the sweet sounds of Seabass. Yeah.
Good morning, Locke.
I think it had a fair bit to do with it. The only thing I'll say with that, Seabass, is I don't think, yes, the citizenship makes a difference for Bryce because it's a chance for him to play for Australia. That chance is now gone, but it doesn't help him now, because it only really helps the team that he plays for in Australia, because then they can use him as a marquee player. They don't have to put on the books that, pay this much amount of money, that he's only getting paid a certain amount. So really, I think this decision, I don't think has a lot to do with that, in a sense of, it's the difference between him staying at the Perth Wildcats or in Australia or moving overseas. So I think it's just a move for him that, there's a lot of money out there. I spoke to you guys a few months ago or so about the amount of money that he could earn overseas, especially in Asia. And he's probably the hottest property in basketball outside the NBA right now. So why not go and make the most of it?
His agent's going to be busy, that's for sure. The phone will be ringing off the hook.
Totally. Hey, Locke, can we join the dots that he's leaving, that the Perth Wildcats probably aren't in a position that really excites him going forward?
I think so, Shawnee. I think the last couple of years haven't been as successful. And I say as successful. I mean, he's been used to winning championships, hasn't he? But they've made semi-finals. They missed a finals campaign. I think there's been a little bit of frustration for Bryce, just the way the club's headed over the last couple of years. And maybe he's just he's come out of contract and he's just decided, look, it's been great. The 9 years have been superb. Love the Red Army, but time to move on and do something different. So, I think there's a little bit in there as well. It's not just money, and it's not just, how he feels about the Wildcats and the NBL, etc.
Now, the hot tip is that, or the hottest theory, I suppose, is that he's going to head over to possibly Japan and team up again with Trevor Gleeson. How do we feel about that?
Oh, you don't mind that, do you?
Yeah, not at all.
I mean, if he's going to play for someone, you want him to play for another club legend like Trevor Gleeson. I think John Mooney's also in Trevor Gleeson's team. John Mooney played a season for the Wildcats.
Yeah, he was terrific.
He's a double specialist.
Yeah, he was a really good... Yes. Oh, Shawnee Mack, listen to you. You could have done this interview and I could have just had breakfast. But, I think that seems to be the perfect fit. But as I say, he's the hottest thing in basketball right now. So I reckon European clubs will have another crack at him. And, the family's at the stage maybe now where they're willing to do a little bit of travel and live somewhere, whether it's Spain, Italy or Asia. It's now up to them to see what the best deal is for them.
Lock, he's clearly irreplaceable, but I want to know who are the Wildcats going to replace him with?
What do you do?
They've obviously got a bit of cash freed up now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when Seabass left the Diamonds, they needed a whole team to cover her absence. I think that's about the same. Look, it's I'll now have... Look, I don't think Pinder comes back. I don't think Bryce comes back. Well, obviously Bryce doesn't come back. I don't know whether Henschel comes back. They're going to have $1.5, $2 million in the bank. They're not going to have Bryce Cotton, but they'll probably have two players, two imports that will cover his sort of, amount of points he puts up and his ability. And then you've got Kristen Doolittle, who absolutely stood up late in the season. So I think it's a chance to... Perth Wildcats don't rebuild, but it's a reset for the Cats, and they'll have a lot of money to spend, and I think they'll put together a pretty decent roster.
Yeah, it's an interesting time. The Wildcats have always been able to hit their mark along the journey, and if they haven't found the right import, they will move them on quickly and then get another guy in. But I guess from a fan and from the WA public, because you don't know who these faces are, it's hard to link straight away with them and have that feel.
I think they need a face, don't they?
Yes, they do.
They need someone like Bryce is not really outgoing, and but the way he plays and the brilliance that he is, he was the face of the franchise. I do think they need some sort of face just to get the fans back on track. To be honest, mate, I'd be having a crack at Paddy Mills. I'd be ringing Paddy and saying, Paddy, we've got a couple of mil here for you, champ, over a few years. You're not getting the game in the NBA. You're sitting on the bench. You're wasting the latter years of your life. Come to Perth, my friend, and be the next Bryce.
But you're not going to get 9 years out of him, Locke. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a patch for now, but that's not really planning for the future, is it?
Matt, I just want to win.
I love Paddy Mills. Don't get me wrong.
No. I'd go a bit higher than that. I'd go with Kevin Durant, because he stayed at the Phoenix, right? And and he didn't want to get traded, and no one wants to play for the Phoenix these days. There's no chance of playing finals. He could come over here, the Slim Reaper.
We've got a dry heat too. He'll love it.
No, he wouldn't come because he's too scared of Damien Martin after his tripped him with the ball in the Olympics.
Never forget.
Good on you, Locke. Thanks for your time, mate. We look forward to seeing you on the news tonight. Thank you.
Stay strong, buddy.
See you guys.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
We're all about the Super Netball season that gets underway in a couple of weekends, which is going to be
Hit up the bandwagon.
We're on, and this is why we're on. We've got one of the great defenders in the West Coast Fever right now. Sunday Aryang's in the house, which is great news. But the other part to that is the pre-season Sunday has gone particularly well. We were a little bit concerned.
Yeah, no, the season, pre-season has gone so well for us. I think leading into it, we didn't know what the outcomes would be, but I think we're all very happy with how we finished. And even though we didn't come first, I think we made such great improvements and growth in that preseason.
Yeah.
So,
You're no one-trick pony anymore.
No. Let's talk about Liv Wilkinson, because you train with her all the time, so you obviously know what she's about and how well she can play. Were you surprised at the reaction, I guess, now that she's getting a little bit more court time and others in Australia can see what a fantastic athlete she is? Yeah,
I wish people knew earlier how good she was, but she went out there and just did her thing. She absolutely smashed it. And I think from trainings, I'm constantly playing on her, and I've seen how much she's grown from the first time she's come in to now, and she makes it so hard for me at training. So it's great that everyone gets to see how great she can be and what she can do.
So she's got big shoes to fill because, of course, she's, filling the role that was previously played by the Goliath, Janelle Fallon-Emart, who was one of the best goals, if not the best in the world. Would that be safe to say?
Yeah, look, she's won 5 MVPs for the league.
She's absolutely dominant. And so for somebody to come up and replace her, it's a big ask for starters.
It is definitely a big ask, but what Liv's done is she's recognised that Janelle is Janelle, and she's the best shooter in the world, and she can't try to copy or be Janelle. She just needs to bring herself and do what she does best, which I think she's done in that preseason matches.
You were talking about the things that you noticed when playing on her at training. Do people get more physical as they get used to the league, as well as, they bring their own skill set, but the physicality side of things?
Yeah, for sure. I remember in training I could push her a little bit and just not her take that drive, but now she holds her ground, so they do get a bit more physical with
what are you
gym work
talking
and
about?
stuff.
Shaun, netball is a non-contact sport, isn't it, Sunday? No, not at all.
Caitlin Bassett, it's a non-contact
How much can you get away
sport,
with?
please.
How much do you get away with when the play's up the other end and trying to get position early?
Look, I would say you're allowed to contest.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, and so as long as you're both going for the ball and you're both, I guess, trying to be skillful in the way that you're getting your feet around the body and moving and repositioning, I think it's fine. I think, something outlandish is like grabbing a player.
Yeah.
Or,
Pushing them or something like that.
Yes. And sometimes players do milk that a little bit, don't they, Sunday? A little bit of a push in the back, or you kind of have to, just play smart.
You do have to play very smart.
Who's the trickiest shooter that you're looking forward to match up against this season?
Oh, I'll probably say Kira. I feel like Kira Austin is always someone that just brings such a different energy to netball, and her movement and her shooting percentage is great. And when she's on, she's on. So she's very hard to put off. So she's probably someone that I'm most looking forward to playing.
Sunday, I've long been somebody who hates the super shot, and I've put it out there, been very public about it. It is now, I mean, obviously not getting rid of it, so I've just got to accept that it is a part of it.
Yep.
But it is a bit devastating when you work so hard in the first part of a quarter, for example. The defenders are defending so tightly, and the shooters are doing so well to get a little bit of a lead that can be erased in 2 shots when they start landing those super shots that are worth double points. Is it a bit devastating for you? Because part of your role is to stop them from getting too close to the ring, and then in that last 5 minutes of every quarter, you've got to try and push them close to the ring. It's weird, isn't it?
It is definitely weird, and I think the super shot's definitely not a defender's dream.
No.
It makes it so hard for us in defence. But I guess when you're trying to defend against it and stop them from getting those runs, it sucks. But I guess when you're on the other side where you're trying to catch up, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So it's one of those ones where some days I love it, some days I don't like it. But it's just such a hard, you just got to work real hard when you're in that super shot.
You really do.
Yeah.
Sunday, the junior netball season's not far away. There's been a lot of gradings around town for everybody who's starting off in their netball career lately. When you were playing juniors, were you always in defence? Because I always tell my daughter, this is what you got to play centre or you play GA. That's where you got to play.
They're the glory spots.
Because if you're in GA, you get to run up the field and you score the goals. If you're in centre, you get to go everywhere. Who wants to play in defence? Defence.
Excuse me, I love defence.
I know now, but
So
surely
from the very
you did
beginning, were you a
always play
defender?
No, I was a shooter.
The glory position. But you know what? Defence is so hard. It is the hardest
no one wants to
position.
play there.
And wing defence in particular, and I know you roll through wing defence. What makes that position so challenging in particular?
I think in wing defence, it's really just that lockdown role of just work him. And you're constantly I feel like wing attacks are so quick with their change of directions and they're so small and speedy. And you got to just keep up with those change of directions. So it's a lot of footwork, which ends up tiring you out very quickly.
Wing defence gets a bad rap because at the lower levels, it's if you haven't got enough to make a team, just drop the wing defence. That's where you put the least skilled person because they can't do too much damage at wing defence.
I know, it's a bit sad, but you have to be skillful to be a wing defence.
At the highest level, wing defence is a highly specialised position.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell us about sharing the circle with your sister. I mean, you share clothes, I've heard. You graciously share your clothes with your sister. But what's it like having her in the team full time this season?
No, it's great having Ruth in the team full time. I feel like we just get each other in the circle. There's not much arguing between the two of us. I think when we're at netball, that's when we're at our best and we're talking to each other nicely.
Connected.
On their best behaviour.
Yeah. Whereas at home, if you heard us talking, you'd be like, wow, they
hate one another.
Yeah.
They're
We'll
bad
go to
teammates.
netball and then we're besties and stuff.
So netball brings out the best in your relationship.
For sure.
Oh, that's good. Good for netball.
But no, I love playing with her, and it's just great to see how much she's grown in the last couple of years, and she honestly just plays some amazing netball. So yeah, I'm just excited to see what comes from this season for her. So
can we foresee a time when both of you are going to be on the Australian team?
Oh,
Is
that would be
what we're
amazing.
Reaching for?
That is the goal, and hopefully one day that can happen. But yeah, we're probably just thinking about this moment now, just celebrating the fact that we're both in the team of 10, and then I guess after this we can think about
what happens.
Yeah.
You've got a bit of a get-together as a team coming up this weekend?
We sure do. We're going to have a jerk chicken night. So
Those poor chickens.
They love it, Shaun.
Yeah.
So this is because, of course, there's a strong Jamaican link in your side.
Yeah, so the Jamaican girls are going to have us all over, and they've got the jerk chicken all sorted and stuff, and they're going to have one of the partners get on the grill and cook that. But last year we did it, and it was a success. So
yes, it set you up for the whole season.
Yeah.
Oh, how good.
What's it like
love that.
having 3 Jamaicans in your team? Do they talk each other's language to one another? Is it a little bit confusing at times?
Honestly, I love having the 3 of them in the team. At first, you couldn't really understand it, but now when they're talking their patois, I can get a little things here and then. I'm like, I know what you're talking about and stuff. So I feel like I can speak it as well, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly, fluent.
Are they funny units?
They're so. Katie Ann is the funniest person ever, and just the stuff that she does, I'm just like, wow, Katie.
Yeah, that's so good. And the first game, not too far away. So we're talking Sunday week. It's a home game against the Swifts, which is a lot of people tipping big things from the Swifts. So this is a big one to start off with.
Yeah, no, we're very excited to play the Swifts. We play them in the preseason matches, and everyone's just looking forward to it. I think we're just so excited to get in front of the Green Army again and just play some netball at RAC Arena. So
this should be close to a sellout, I would think. It's at 2:00 on a Sunday afternoon. So Sunday week.
Your matchup in particular, Grace Nweki, first season in SSN. What are you doing to prepare for her? Because you didn't get to play against her at Teen Girls Cup, did you?
Yeah, no, we didn't get to play against her at Teen Girls Cup. She was injured.
Rested.
Yeah, rested.
So tactically rested. Got it.
But it is definitely a big matchup. And I think for me, my role is probably just working Helen as hard as possible and keeping her as high up the court.
She's good, Helen Husby, isn't she?
Yeah, exactly. It's hard work playing on her, so I got to get her early. But just do my job on Helen, and when there's that time to help out in the circle on Grace, then I'll do that.
Yeah.
But just focus on my
Grace
role.
is Ruth's problem?
Yeah. Leave it through.
Handle that to your sister. And no passing the ball to Verity Simmons as well. She's down there on court. Great to see her get a gig back at SSN level, obviously switching from Fever then to football and now with Swift. So it's going to be good to see her.
Yeah, it'll be great to see her out there. It's just so weird not having her in our team and not having that Vezi vibe in the group. But it's great to see her succeeding over there. So
yeah. Oh, you're too nice. Well, thank you for coming in Sunday. We know you're off to the season launch of the West Coast Fever now. So that's coming up in just a few minutes' time, essentially. And then good luck for that first game. Can't wait, and enjoy Jerk Chicken Day.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Hey, now, you might have seen on the news yesterday all the hoo-ha about the Queensland Olympics, which were coming up in 2032.
Of course, people hate it. Do you know what I mean? They're programmed to that when there's a big announcement like that, where finally, after a long time, they're only 7 years away from these Olympics. They better hurry up. And then everyone's like, no, that's wrong. It's like, well, somebody had to make a decision and do something decisive.
Well, of course they did. And the answer, and I know I banged on about this, but the answer was always to build a new stadium.
Of course
and we've talked about this. Our stadium's amazing. And when, again, the whole political stuff, I was watching the Premier, David Crisafulli, talking, right? And he said he was the one dead against it, right?
Yes.
And that was one
when
of
he was
his
in opposition,
that was one of his main flag stick things to get it, we won't spend $1 and we'll save everyone money. And he gets in. And the moment he gets in, he starts backtracking a little bit until they do. Then they have to pay people to do an independent report, right? So it's not coming from them personally.
That's right.
Anyway, when he was standing up there doing a speech yesterday, he said, it's about time government step aside and not let this become a political hot potato or whatever, and do what's right for the Queensland people.
Except when you were making it a political hot potato. Oh, okay. Just build the thing.
I just find it so funny.
I mean, and then there are all these people going, oh, there's so much history associated with the Gabba. Yeah, there was history associated with Subiaco Oval too. We just got on with it.
100% we did.
Doesn't take the history away.
By the way, the games are going to be spread up all of northern Queensland as much as it is. There'll be stuff in the Gold Coast.
Rowing in Rockhampton.
Exactly.
What?
That's right. They want to make
spewing.
sure that there's crocodiles just swimming past you.
It's a
as
great
you've got the oars
motivator.
in the ground. Go faster now.
I know.
There's one behind us.
I would be a little bit spewing if I got picked for the Olympics and then you end up in Rockhampton when all the action's in Brisbane. Do you know what I mean? You're so separated from it all. And I know that does happen with some sports anyway, like sailing and those sorts of things. So the sailing was a long way from Paris, for example. But it's like, you're at the Olympics, but you're not really a part of the Olympics. No,
that would be devastating. Yeah. So Cairns, Townsville, Gold Coast, Mackay gets a Guernsey as well.
What are they
There's
hosting?
other places. You mentioned Rockhampton. I hadn't had a breakdown of everything, but there's archery and all these things are all over the
joint. All right, Townsville, you get the handball.
And they're talking about obviously doing a drop-in pool into an entertainment centre that they're going to build that will be there for years to come. So there will be other sports and other
can use it. Yeah,
can use it as it goes on. But it's.
I've been to Athens. So Athens hosted the games in 2004.
Yep.
And there are venues that are in ruins already. And I mean, I know Athens does love a good ruin, but most of them are older than 20 years. They're like we were driving past and a taxi driver said, that was the Olympic softball venue, and it's just completely overgrown and nothing now.
Unbelievable. You know, when I was in Athens, and it wasn't far before the Olympics, when I came into the airport to fly out, I remember seeing like dogs and stray cats and that cruising around the airport. Everyone's having a dart. When you went on the plane, you're allowed you're just allowed to smoke your head off.
They've cleaned that up a little bit, but not a lot. To be fair, not a lot.
Where am I?
Yeah, I know.
This is unbelievable.
They did do up the airport for the Olympics, but yes.
Anyway, I can't wait for it. I'm going to make sure I get over to Brisbane because it's going to be a moment in time. We don't want to because I missed the Sydney Olympics, and I flew in from Europe, and one of my mates hit me up. He said, "I'll pick you up at the air." Oh no, he said, "I'll be at the airport. I'm booking you a ticket to go straight from." I landed in Perth to Sydney, and when I got off the plane, I was like, "There's no way I'm getting on another plane."
Yeah,
and I missed the opportunity of a lifetime.
Regrets. He's had a few.
I just want to mention there's been a lot of talk about Lachy Reid in the football this week.
Is that just because they need something to talk about because there's 400 football panel shows?
There's a lot of footy panel shows, and they do concentrate on one person, and his behaviour's been poor at best. And he's given away 7 free kicks, and the way he's been carrying on, it's too much, and it's a lot of distraction. So we need him to get back on track. The one thing that will be interesting about him this week is I feel that the crowd and the moment being a Fremantle, a derby,
it's a West Coast game,
and a West Coast game, the crowd getting behind him will see him at his best. He will not be the finished product in the next couple of years because his fitness is way below par, and that's my judgment. But he is still good enough to have an impact.
He's still got the skill and the talent.
Fremantle have to be careful from their point of view. That's my point of view, because he could go wild and engage the crowd, which would get the West Coast Eagles absolutely firing.
You do feel like he's about to flip the switch at any moment, and
Well, I don't think he can because of his physical.
Oh no, just from that point where he really takes a game on and has like
there's going to be moments now
when everything comes together.
Like
it feels like every a couple of times he's getting caught in tackles and that sort of stuff. He's going to have that breakthrough game soon, I reckon. You just feel it coming.
Yeah, he's a highlight machine.
Yeah,
it's going to happen at some stage.
Yeah. Just a couple of goals of the year.
Yeah,
it's full of it.
Who knows?
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.